The snow had already covered the ground since the 25th of November and surrounded me suddenly with the scenery of winter. I withdrew yet farther into my shell and endeavored to keep a bright fire both within my house and within my breast. To read well, that is, to read true books in a true spirit, is a noble exercise, and one that will task the reader more than any exercise which the customs of the day esteem. It requires a training such as the athletes underwent, the steady intention almost of the whole life to this object. Books must be read as deliberately and reservedly as they were written. In any weather, at any hour of the day or night, I have been anxious to improve the nick of time, and notch it on my stick too, to stand on the meeting of two eternities, the past and future, which is precisely the present moment, to toe that line. When we have obtained those things which are necessary to life, there is another alternative than to obtain the superfluities, and that is to adventure on life now.
Here is a keepsake of John for you, drawn from memory, not yet faded. I hope you don't tire of my gifts, as there are more to be found. On the northern shore, where the nighthawks soar, by the fireside there, peace and good fare. Love, Sophia.
Is not January the hardest month to get through? When I have weathered that, I will get into the Gulf Stream of winter, nearer the shores of spring. Like the water, the Walden ice, seen near at hand, has a green tint, but at a distance is beautifully blue, and you can easily tell it from the white ice of the river or the merely greenish ice of some ponds a quarter-mile off. I sometimes left a good fire when I went to take a walk in a winter afternoon, and when I returned 3 or 4 hours afterward, it would be still alive and glowing.
Our game is fading fast, but still a few bright spots left. A heaven of wildflowers from fairyland found, favorite of picnickers and poets renowned. With showers in spring, the zephyrs will sing, and solace once lost is found past the frost. Sophia.
Interesting. Interesting.
One last riddle, brother, and then you can rest. In an inlet of willow, a moment of peace, between the steam engine's billow and the honk of the geese. S.
The chickadees came with faint, flitting, lisping notes, like the tinkling of icicles in the grass, or else with sprightly day, or more rarely, in spring-like days, a wiry, summery phoebe from the woodside. It would be well, perhaps, if we were to spend more of our days and nights without any obstruction between us and the celestial bodies. Why should I feel lonely? Is not our planet in the Milky Way? What sort of space is that which separates a man from his fellows and makes him solitary? In our most trivial walks, we are constantly, though unconsciously, steering like pilots by certain well-known beacons and headlands, and if we go beyond our usual course, we still carry in our minds the bearing of some neighboring cape. And not till we are completely lost or turned round, for a man needs only to be turned round once with his eyes shut in this world to be lost, do we appreciate the vastness and strangeness of nature. Suddenly a fox appeared, threading the solemn aisles with an easy coursing pace, whose sound was concealed by a sympathetic rustle of the leaves, swift and still, keeping the round, leaving his pursuers far behind. What I have observed of the pond is no less true in ethics. It is the law of average. Such a rule of the two diameters not only guides us toward the sun in the system and the heart in man, but draws lines through the length and breadth of the aggregate of a man's particular daily behaviors, and waves of life into his coves and inlets, and where they intersect will be the height or depth of his character. Perhaps we need only to know how his shores trend, and his adjacent country or circumstances, to infer his depth and concealed bottom. To anticipate, not the sunrise and the dawn merely, but, if possible, nature herself. How many mornings, summer and winter, before yet any neighbor was stirring about his business, have I been about mine? 100 Irishmen, with Yankee overseers, came from Cambridge every day to get out the ice. They divided it into cakes, and these, being sledded to the shore, were rapidly hauled off to an ice platform and raised by grappling irons and block and tackle, worked by horses onto a stack as surely as so many barrels of flour, and there placed evenly side by side and row upon row, as if they form the solid base of an obelisk designed to pierce the clouds. I believe that every man who has ever been earnest to preserve his higher or poetic faculties in the best condition has been particularly inclined to abstain from animal food and from much food of any kind. Many of the phenomena of winter are suggestive of an inexpressible tenderness and fragile delicacy. As I was desirous to recover the long-lost bottom of Walden Pond, I surveyed it carefully Before the ice broke up, with compass and chain and sounding line, there have been many stories told about the bottom, or rather no bottom, of this pond, which certainly had no foundation for themselves. It is remarkable how long men will believe in the bottomlessness of a pond without taking the trouble to sound it.
We're at the end of our play, at this fine place to pray, for those who have passed, and we who stand fast. Come home when you can, Henry, safe and well. Your loving sister, Sophia.
Early in the morning, while all things are crisp with frost, men come with fishing reels and slender lunch and let down their fine lines through the snowy field to take pickerel and perch. Wild men who instinctively follow other fashions and trust other authorities than their townsmen.